You are now listening to the Highly Evolved Podcast with your host, Safan. Transmission will commence momentarily.
How you doing, guys? This is the Highly Evolved Podcast. I'm your host, Safan. You can find me on Twitter and Gab.ai. Let's start the show. This time we're going to talk about 5G technology and what happened today, April 4th. The big news is that 5G they are set to release on two major metropolis in America. All right, the two major metropolises in America that they just recently turned on 5G is initiated. It's just begun. All right, from Verizon. Verizon made this announcement today. The two biggest cities. All right, you guys ready? Minneapolis and Chicago. Their 5G has been turning on. And Chicago been in the news for the past week now. Chicago been in the news for the past week. Jussie Smollett, the mayor, the voting, the the election, the mayor got elected, right? Chicago's been everywhere, and Minneapolis, right? So basically, these big metropolis, right, metropolitan area, their 5G is turning on. They're being experimented on, all right. So if you don't know what 5G is that they say 5G is a radio wave for cell phone, which is completely hoax. 5G, I repeat, 5G is not a radio wave. 5G is a millimeter wave, right? You don't know what millimeter wave is? Millimeter wave is a thing that they use as a military weapon. They have military have weapons that they emits a certain frequency that could burn your skin from a distance. Either burn your skin, make you hear things, make you mess with your brain, right? And they use these weapons to dispel crowds. That's what these weapons are used for, to displace, to get rid of crowds, right? Crowded area. That's what these weapons are used for. These weapons are used millimeter wave. And some of the side effects that these crowds have been using on, they've been tested, right? Is burning of the skin, right? Hear humming, hallucinating. That's the side effects of these weapons, right? And that's what this 5G technology is used. 5G technology is a technology of the military. It's military grade. That has now been used on civilians right now. And you say it's just started. Verizon just start turning it on. It's on right now, right? And in order to use the service, you gotta be a selected member. You gotta be have a certain kind of phone. You have an unlimited plan, and there's gonna be a $10 charge within this plan, right? But the thing is, the main big part is the city, Minneapolis and Chicago. Why do they choose cities? Because these cities are a highly dense area, right? And Minneapolis, like, why is it Minneapolis, right? Well, when you look at it, Minneapolis, right? What's Minneapolis known for? It's a heavily dense Somalian community, right? And Somalians are known to have a low IQ, -60, I think. -60, and they are the least people that's resistant. Don't know what 5G is, right? They don't care what 5G is because of their IQ, because they're the least resistant group of people out there right now, right? And if you don't know what 5G is, if you don't have any knowledge about 5G, 5G is also linked to the technology, voice of God technology, right? Voice of God technology. So you don't know what you don't know what voice. Okay, let me go backwards, slow it down. Voice of God technology is a technology where the government or some secret organization can project a certain voice in the person's head, telling them what to do, right? Telling them what to do, and they think it's the voice of God telling them what to do. For instance, if that voice transmitted to your head, right, they could tell them to cast a false flag somewhere, right? Start a massacre, and they'll do it, right? And they don't, just to get that voice out of their head. And that's why they're targeting these areas where there's like low IQ people, right? Chicago is like, the education is bad over there too. They're killing themselves over there. Chicago is basically a big sacrificial ground, right? If you don't know history about Chicago have a violent history, right? I talk about Chicago. I told you I've been to Chicago. Chicago is known to have crimes, Al Capone, right? The bootlegging crime. The Chicago fire, a lot of people died, right? So basically, when you go to Chicago, there's like wandering souls everywhere. Everyone get into the Gnostic point of view, right? and esoteric, right? This is like wandering soul, unrest spirits. The home are old, right? So there's a lot of haunted house there, right? But I digress on that part. That's another topic for another story. But I want to talk about the voice of God technology. That's why this voice of God technology are implemented through 5G, because the AT&T patent invention that it could project voices into people's head. Right? If you look at the patent office, it's out there. Right? But anyway, they choose these areas, and that's what I think was going on. I'm not saying, don't take my word for it, but that's what I'm thinking. They choose the city on purpose, right? As an experiment. They say that in the article, they use the term as deployed, right? Deployed is a military term, right? Deployed is a military term. 5G is a military-grade frequency wave, right? So basically, it's a military weapon. It's a secret weapon that they develop already. And I'm guessing that these technology are linked to the technology with weather modification as well. Directive energy. All right, directive energy. You know, directive energy was people thought that it was used on the Paradise, California fire, right? Or something like that. In the recent fire, right, where it's kind of odd. It started on November 8th, right? And then you turn November 8th backwards, is 8/11. 8/11 is a Hebrew or the Jewish day of Tel Aviv. No. That building at the Second Temple, that's the day when all this tragedy happens, right? Tisha B'Av, that's what I'm trying to say. 8/11 is Tisha B'Av. So it's all these connections, right? 5G wave. So they're testing this thing out, and later on, by the end of June, they're gonna test it out in other places like New York, Los Angeles, all these metropolis city. So basically, they're testing out on metropolis city. So if you live in a metropolis city, I advise you try to get out as you can. Try to go in the rural area. All right. But that's what they're doing right now. Right now, Chicago and Minneapolis are the first to initiate 5G technology. And that's very dangerous, right? 5G technology is hot enough to burn your skin, all right? It's hot enough to burn your skin. Go look on YouTube. They show you all these military weapons that they use to control crowds, right? Either by sound wave, 5G wave, right? It's just a big truck with like a parabola or a disc, right? And it direct the energy to a crowd and it dispersed them. But yeah, and Minneapolis is a high concentration of Somalis, right? And Somalis, if you know their education, right? And if you know one thing about Somali, there is a oral culture, right? They don't have a written language. Their culture is based on talk. They don't have any write down. So it's hard for them to communicate. It's hard for them to be educated, right? So they're targeting these people. And, Somalis, they hear voices in their head. What's going to happen? And most of them are jihadists, right? Most of them are known as, I don't want to say killers, but irrational behaviors, right? Stabbing people and all that stuff, right? Allah Akbar, right? You know about that? So if they hear voices in their head, what do you think they're going to do? Cause a big massacre, right? And especially Chicago. Chicago's already a killing ground. Sacrificial ground already. And what the heck these people going to do when they start hearing voices in their head? Start shooting again. It's going to be another false flag. Either in Minneapolis, right? Either Minneapolis or Chicago. All right? You guys be aware of 5G. Don't. Right now, fortunately, most of the phones not 5G compatible. The iPhone's not 5G compatible. But they're saying by the year 2020, most cell phone that's coming out by 2020 going to be 5G compliant, right? 5G compliant. Los Angeles, they're about to roll out 5G, but they're going to only test it out as home internet users for right now. Right? I'm not going to get it. They're going to ask me. I'm like, no, I'm going to throw it in the trash or something, But I'm not getting no 5G microwave. Like I mentioned before, I don't have a microwave in my house. I don't use microwave, all right? Because microwave have this adverse effect too. When you drink microwave water, it have like an adverse effect. It'll affect your body because it's the molecule messing out with the molecules, all right? So the same goes for 5G. 5G is messing with your molecules, right? Radio wave is totally different from 5G, right? Radio wave project as an amplitude going up and down like a wave, right? 5G is like digital, like it's digital, right? Radio wave is analog. That's the difference. But the thing is, radio wave could travel a longer distance, right? Radio wave could travel a longer distance. The thing with 5G, what hinder it is it send out a large data, but it can only travel short distances. That's why you see a lot of transponders so close to each other. That's why they have to have a lot of transponders in order for 5G to work. That's why it's so hard for it to be implemented in a rural area right now, right? Right? Okay. And they try right now. Sprint is trying to buy out T-Mobile, try to push out 5G faster. They said they're trying to make a bid for T-Mobile. They said in order for 5G to go faster, it's easier if they integrate the company together, so it's be out there by 2020. And the reason why they say that because they're competing with China, right? If you don't know what China is a police state. They need 5G to control their people, right? China is a totalitarian state, right? I don't know if I say that right. Totalitarian state, right? Which is a police state by surveillance cameras. So they don't need approval. They already put 5G. So what the United States try to do is they try to compete with China because it's 5G. Don't do it, right? And Trump, I told you I voted for Trump, but if he do some stupid stuff, I won't hesitate to throw him under the bus. And right now he's been, he's been on record saying he supports 5G, and that's like, no, why did you do it? That's a lot of, oh my God, that made me so furious at Trump, you know. But hopefully he come to his senses, right? Competing with China, and right now China is in a trade war with the United States, right? Trump is making a deal with China right now. If it's not a good deal, we're not gonna go for it right now. But yeah, it's a military weapon. 5G is a military weapon used to burn your skin, used to mess with your brain. All right, and people have irreparable brain damage right now, and they want to use more of a 5G. But yeah, and on that note, I just want to conclude that Chicago and Minneapolis is the first two cities that's using 5G right now, right? And let me know what you think. You think it's a bad thing, good thing? Do you think 5G is a threat or has been overblown? Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. And share if you want to, and you support me. You can do the same thing I just told you. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm not monetized. This channel is ad free. I'm not bound up by any sponsor. All right. So if you want to show some love, subscribe. And I'll come with more stories out there that's not being reported right now. But like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Are you for 5G or against 5G, or what's your opinion on 5G? Leave a comment below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. This is a Highly Evolved podcast, and I'll see you guys in the next transmission. Thank you.